O'Reilly, host of the No Spin News, BillO'Reilly.com. Bill, it is good to see you as always. 20 years later, has anything materially changed in the immigration debate?
No, it's good to see me waxing my friend Geraldo Rivera 19 years ago. And just so people don't understand what that debate was about, we were talking about criminal aliens. We were talking about people who were allowed in this country who killed Americans. And the case that was Geraldo and I were speaking about was a drunk driving case. The guy should not have been here. Intoxicated, kills an American. Geraldo goes, no, it's not fair to point that out because you're demonizing the peaceful people, which is exactly where we are today. I thought this was all going to end when Barack Obama became president, because Mr. Obama, as we've run on NewsNation and other networks, was very, very against the open borders and amnesty for undocumented migrants. He made it quite clear that was not going to happen under his term. Not a peep from the Democratic Party, no dissent, nothing. In fact, about 39 people died in federal custody. Immigrants died on the Obama watch. 39.
I don't want to correct you. I think that number is about 53, but yes.
Well, what I'm saying is directly, and there's a lot of indirect stuff, but whatever the number may be, it was high. And Barack Obama only got criticized when he separated families. And he got a little criticism for that, but not a lot. So then you flash forward to Donald Trump. And it's not about illegal immigration any longer. It's about finding an issue that will deliver the midterms to the Democrats. And the Democrats believe that the economy is a little too wobbly now. It could go Trump's way. And gas prices are coming down, all of that. But this one with the ICE, you can see it on television. There is brutality. There are mistakes being made. But step back. When you're hunting between 10 and 15 million people, there are going to be some mistakes. And people don't understand between a judicial warrant and a government warrant. They don't know that many of these so-called peaceful migrants, non-criminal migrants, have not shown up for their hearings. They don't know that. They don't know anything because the media doesn't report it. But the Democrats right now believe that they have an issue that will give them the midterms, and they're going to slam it. And that's what's going on with Epstein, too. They're fervently praying that something will arise from all of this Epstein thing so they can ram it down Trump's throat. And that's where we are in the news cycle. Isn't it pitiful? It really is pitiful.
Well, it's also sad. I don't think anything's going to come out of the Epstein files either way. We actually have some new reporting you won't hear anywhere other than NewsNation coming up in the next block on Epstein. But I think if we just stick on this immigration debate, the obvious point would be, and I think I made this at the end of the monologue, is that there is a solution. Barack Obama, I guess, could have had some kind of, immigration reform. I almost said comprehensive immigration reform, which was what George W. Bush started saying back in the early 2000s. I was still in college. But then you go through Obama. Trump comes in 2017. There was not really a huge push to come up with some kind of compromise. I think what you're saying is that my monologue was right, is that for both sides, this was a great issue for Republicans in 2024. It's going to be what Democrats think is a great issue in 2026. That immigration is far more of a culture war issue that never is going to be solved than a policy issue that both sides should want to bring help to the American people on.
You could certainly have Congress pass new immigration legislation, and it's way overdue. 1952 is the last one. Cuomo makes this point fairly often, that both parties issue basically to their congresspeople and to their supporters, financial supporters, they issue bullet points, guidelines. And there is no push on the part of either party to get fair legislation into the House and Senate. None. The sticking point for the Republicans, and Bush, the younger, got waxed on this. He got blown out on this, is amnesty. They don't want it. They won't vote for it. And then if you say, well, we're going to give the migrants this, they go amnesty, amnesty, amnesty.
Amnesty, yeah.
On the Democratic side, it's changed a little bit. So under Obama, it was okay, enforce immigration law. We won't have sanctuary cities. We don't need that. But let's be humane. Okay, that's not a bad policy, but that has changed drastically. Now the far left that runs the Democratic Party says, no, everybody here, okay, stays unless they commit a crime. Everybody stays. And with that kind of no amnesty to everybody stays, you're never going to get a deal.
Right. No, and there's no incentive for some kind of compromise, right? Because the fundraising and the way our primary system now is that if God forbid anybody on either side offers to compromise, then they're going to get taken out by the extremes of their parties. I just want to acknowledge you were saying that I made the point better than Cuomo did, right? Okay, thank you. Immigration is
whose show I'm on.
Okay. Thank you, Bill. Immigration is a top issue for voters. And I think this is an important point, right? Immigration ranks second only to the economy. You figured this out in 2005, right? Why is immigration, what is it a proxy for that has something that is so visceral for people, that is so emotional for people? And does that mean that no one's willing to compromise?
Conservative traditional Americans liked the country the way it was in 1965.
Yeah.
I'm writing about that in my new book, Confronting America. They don't want a vast change where foreign nationals dominate the elections, the economy, whatever it may be. They want fair immigration. You go through the process. Certainly immigrants, everyone who's sane will admit, have contributed tremendously to this country. But the traditional conservative American doesn't want to be flooded. They don't want the zone flooded.
Right.
So that's the skepticism there. Biden destroyed any kind of compromise by his open border policy, which was so outrageous. So many people got hurt. We'll be dealing with the repercussions of that for decades.
Yeah,
now they're dug in. They're dug in on the conservative side. Now the liberal side,
I think they're dug in. They're dug in on the Republican side, on the Democratic side too, right? You know, if you have the whole Grammys coalescing around Fight ICE. Yeah.
But a good Democratic leader could undig them. Conservatives are never going to dig them out.
Is that
Liberals
the word of the day, undig?
Extracted from their transient position. Because when you look at it, if you are going to allow every human being, and this is the beef I have with the Pope, all right? You cannot allow every persecuted, poor human being in the world to come to the land of opportunity. You can't. Because here in New York City, in California, but let me make one more point. Let me make this point. California elected Ronald Reagan twice. 8 years of Ronald Reagan as governor. Never could have had today. Why? Because of all the new, mostly foreign voters who want government assistance. Reagan was not that guy. But back then, in the 1970s, California was a primarily white state. It is no longer. And the Democratic Party likes that.
Yeah, is that really being fair, though? I think the Democratic Party, certainly, if you look at who's out there protesting, and it's normally overeducated, underpaid, white liberal women. But there's a larger point. I'm not sure you're being fair here, because if you think about who moved towards Trump in the last election, it was immigrants. It was Latinos, significantly working class Latinos, because they were angry about illegal immigration and the Biden policies that you rightly point out. There's not a lot of Americans who are out there trying to get jobs by standing around on Home Depot corners and desperately just trying to work. I have friends in the construction business who cannot find legal workers to do construction and work concrete pouring, down in the heat in Texas and Florida during the summer. They say it doesn't matter how much they pay. No whites will show up. It's only the Hispanics. So is it really fair to say that it's just immigrants who want handouts?
The immigrants that came in or come in, most of them need government assistance. That's the point I was trying to make. Now, the reason Hispanic Americans broke toward Trump in the last election was because of a sense of fairness. They said, look, we did it the right way. We sacrificed. We got on the line. We did what we had to do. We obeyed the law, immigration law and every other law. So wait a minute, what's this? That was why they went over to Trump.
You really though say, you're saying that people come to America, though, that much of even the illegal immigration aren't people coming to trying to make a better life. They just want to come and get on the government dole.
Sure, no, they're coming to make a better life, but they need help. They don't speak the language. They don't have any skills.
My relatives didn't when they showed up.
They need help.
My relatives didn't, and they didn't
go on the dole. Well, there wasn't any bad. Well, there wasn't any dole when my people showed up from Ireland. You made it or you died. But now the Democratic Party and the left wing of it, which controls the party, is basically saying, look, the more we can get people hooked onto the government assistance band, the more votes we're going to get, because the mean Republicans, they're against that. And that is definitely in play.
Yeah.
Now, how much, it's hard to say.
Okay,
but if you had a JFK, for example, if you had a John F. Kennedy now running for president in the Democratic Party, and his mentality was the same it was back in 1960, I think you could persuade that a Democratic leader like that could persuade a lot of the Democratic liberals to reject the craziness on the left, to reject the unfairness, to reject the danger.
It's Rahm Emanuel. Rahm Emanuel now sounds like George W. Bush, though. In terms of where people are. Bill, thank you. As you pointed out, 20 years ago, this was the issue. It remains that. Bill O'Reilly, as always on Monday nights, thank you.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.